Hi everyone, today we're building a chemical plant and of course we're gonna hack it. Let's begin. Alright, so I have been researching quite a lot about SCADA. Well, I did research quite a lot back because I had a project. I had to do a penetration test on a very specific infrastructure that is, it has a lot of POCs. I'm not gonna go into details because a lot of that information is not supposed to go out, but in general, I wanted to prepare myself, right? I wanted to create an environment where I could prepare in advance to set up everything, configure everything in detail. And I was thinking, all right, how can I do this, right? And up to then, I didn't realize that there are some solutions that can help me achieve that. So I used ChatGPT and some artificial intelligence to search the internet and look for alternatives. What can I do to configure this environment? And I have discovered Fortiphyd. Fortiphyd is apparently a company which they have a website, web application. Page not found. We can't seem to find the page. All right, just go home, I guess. And this video is not sponsored, by the way. So I have no incentive about doing it. I just thought what they're doing is quite cool and I wanted to make a video on it, right? It personally helped me to prepare a little bit. I didn't pay for their trainings, though if your organization has budget, it's probably worth it. So they have virtual training grounds, right? You can create virtual playgrounds of different industrial control systems that simulate specific environments. It could be chemical plants, it could be nuclear facilities, whatever, right? And if you would like to create and simulate this environment, you can do it with their software. Well, it's not just one software. I guess it's a combination of different instruments and ways to create that environment, that ecosystem, because it can be quite complex, right? You have different systems, different hardware, wiring, valves, pumps, whatever, right? It's very complex. So this is what they do, and they have provided a GitHub page where you can test it out, right? So this version of GRI, which is Graphical Realism Framework for Industrial Control Systems, is organized as 5 VirtualBox VMs, a 3D simulation, a soft POC, an HMI, pfSense firewall, and a workstation. Pretty cool. So they also have a video series walking through VM setup and example attacks on their own YouTube channel. So I'm gonna post the link. I'm gonna refer, where is this? Fortiphyd training, right? So they have like a couple of videos of how you can set up what specific, what's that? HMIs and ARP spoofing. ARP spoofing is a type of attack. So they're making a tutorial of how you can spoof. And then a training about injecting malicious Modbus commands, right? So I haven't seen it, like I haven't seen them all. I've just watched some of this and some of that and just decided to do it myself. This video is not gonna cover the setup and configuration because you can just watch that here, right? So I have already downloaded it. Let me go to the page. If you need more assistance when you're looking at the GitHub page, you see that, all right, there is a specific configuration for the POC virtual machine. There is a specific configuration for the human machine interface. Then you need a pfSense firewall, which is gonna act as a router. It's gonna be routing, and as well you can set up and configure specific firewall rules between DMZ and ICS network, so you can simulate more realistic environment. and see how you can play around it, if you can bypass it, and so on. Engineering workstation. The workstation VM is an Ubuntu 16.04, which is quite an older version. I think the latest one is like 22.4. Machine with the software used for programming the Open POC. Alright, so this workstation is located in the ICS network, and this is really useful information because when you're configuring it, you can simulate and replicate actually the internal network that you're gonna need, so that each machine can communicate with each other, right? So installing from scratch, you can download and install VirtualBox, create a host-only interface, download image for the workstation, and see instructions for each VM in corresponding directories. So he's talking about those directories here. So if you go to, let's say, simulation VM, we have a README file for installation, first keep, etc. So we have like very detailed information. Keep in mind that you might run into quite a lot of issues. It's very unstable. They're not at fault in this case. It's just that this specific software is not easy to set up. The virtual machine configuration is not easy to set up. There is also quite a lot of unsupported libraries, issues, and so on. So if something does not work out, check out the internet, do your research, ask artificial intelligence tools for help, assistance, and so on. So I'm just gonna do a quick proof of concept. So after I have configured everything and have followed the tutorial line by line and did everything correctly, I have visited this IP address .10, and as we can see, we're currently looking at the chemical plant with all its configuration. We have PLCs, valves, pumps, whatever. You know, we have the pressure, the level of everything. You can see that there is specific configuration here: purge product, incoming product, purge for something like, all right, so it comes in from B into this pressurized place and then it goes out. So everything is working great. Next steps is what we can do with it, right? There is obviously some type of infrastructure working and connected into the internal network. The scenario is we are, as an attacker, part of this same network. So let's imagine that, of course, we're not going to be able in a real environment to see all that. We're not going to be able to be there and look at the configuration. So we would like to better understand what processes are running and sniff out the network. Since a lot of the ICS communication is in unencrypted format, it's always must do when we're doing a SCADA pentesting. Okay, so we can see a lot of traffic's going on, a lot of exchange of information from a couple of sources and destinations, as we can see. So it's not a variety of IP addresses exchanging information, it's like just a couple. We can see that the protocols being used is TCP and Modbus. And what we want to do is just collect a little bit more information, just wait a bit. Perfect. Let's stop that. Let's stop the connection. Not the connection, but the collection. And filter the protocols by Modbus. And what we can see is, all right, first things first, we have a source and IP. We can see that 192.168.90.5 is communicating with .2, 95.2, and in reverse. So these two things are exchanging some type of information in both directions. So one says the source is .5 and one says the source is .2. From one side, from to the right, we can see that we are currently looking at input registers. Okay, let's see what type of information can we extract from that. So on the second one, we can see that we have like 12 different registers sending binary data, right? And we have coils. From .5 to .2 we have coils, and in reverse as well. And we can see that the information changes. So we have to spend some time to see and find what works for us and what doesn't in terms of information, what's useful and what's not. So what we can see here is request time, byte count, bit 40 is 0, which doesn't mean anything, but if we look at the value beneath, it translates it for us. All right, 0 bit value false. So right now this value is false, and we don't really know what bit 40 does, right? However, there is a way to check what's gonna happen if we write a new value to that coil. In Metasploit, there is this module called Modbus client. So we're gonna use this scanner. Well, of course, I did my due diligence before that to look for it and search it and see how it works and so on. So we're gonna use Modbus client. We're gonna set the R host to .2. Yes, source is .2. We're gonna set the address as 40, though we would like set action write coil, just in case it doesn't work with the condition of true. We want to set the data address to 40, since if I believe the bit number is 40, so this should be it. And then set number 1, which is the new value that we want to change, basically, and set data coils 1. Data coils byte count 1 and 1. Okay, so what's gonna happen if I run this? Did it work? Something's loading, I guess. Write coil set to true. Number 1, data coils running module. Data value must be 0 or 1 in write coil mode. What did I... Options. Options. Okay. So set data 1. Run. Okay, so what's gonna happen now? So we have changed the value. We can see that the pressure is actually changing. It's going down. So essentially what I think we just did is we have turned the machine off. So we have successfully manipulated the machine, and now it's turning off. This particularly, it could be particularly dangerous if there is specific procedures and processes that has to be run in order for specific machine to be turned off, and some machines shouldn't stop working at all. If they stop working, other machines could crash, could have a system failure, whatever. They could block other machines, and this is quite dangerous, right? It could be. So we have successfully executed this specific Modbus client, and with that our proof of concept is completed.
If you want to do more advanced attacks, if you want to practice more, if you want to do more in general, you should go ahead and visit Fortiphyd. This is not a sponsored video. It's just, it helped me learn a little bit more about POCs, about how different ICS systems interact with each other, how they are positioned and so on. I'm gonna post some in the description below this video. You'll see some really helpful information that helped me personally, so I would like to share it with you. And of course, if you want to learn more, visit Fortiphyd, check out their tutorial on how to set up this specific configuration. And yeah, I mean, thank you for watching. See you in our next video.